Yellowstone isn't just an American treasure. It's the world's oldest national park. Established in 1872, Yellowstone stretches across 3,472 square miles in 3 states. The park welcomes nearly 3 million visitors a year who flock to the area to take in a stunning natural landscape that includes the Old Faithful Geyser and a plethora of hiking trails, mountain peaks, and hot springs. That's not to mention the variety of wildlife that call the park home, including grizzly bears, moose, elk, beavers, and bighorn sheep. Below the surface of this outdoor person's paradise lurks another natural wonder, however, one that has the potential to wipe the park off the map. The Yellowstone supervolcano is a massive source of granitic magma that rests miles under the park's surface. Although it's not likely to erupt anytime soon, a full explosion would be bad news for nature enthusiasts and a slew of folks anywhere near the park. Super eruptions versus ordinary eruptions. Yellowstone has had 3 of these really massive eruptions in history: 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 664,000 years ago. The last of those, at Yellowstone Lava Creek, ejected so much material from below that it left a 34-mile by 50-mile depression in the ground, what we see today as the Yellowstone caldera. It's worth noting that Yellowstone is hardly the only supervolcano out there. Geologists have found evidence of at least 47 super eruptions in Earth's history. The most recent occurred in New Zealand's Lake Taupo some 26,000 years ago. So what would a Yellowstone eruption look like? Let's reiterate that the odds of any sort of Yellowstone eruption, big or small, are very low. But if we're speaking hypothetically, the most likely eruption scenario in Yellowstone is a smaller event that produced lava flows, similar to what's happening at Iceland's Brandenburg right now, and possible a typical volcanic explosion. This would likely be precipitated by a swarm of earthquakes in a specific region of the park as the magma made its way to the surface. Now, in the unlikely of a much bigger super eruption, the warning signs would be much bigger. We'd likely first see intense seismic activity across the entire park, Lowenstern says. It could take weeks or months for those earthquakes to break up the rocks above the magma before an eruption. So what if we did get a super eruption? An event that was 1,000 times more powerful than a regular volcanic eruption, ejected at least 240 cubic miles of material, and lasted for weeks or months. If the Yellowstone supervolcano were to erupt, it would happen like this. Heat rising from deep within the planet's core would begin to melt the molten rock just below the ground surface. That would create a mixture of magma, rocks, vapor, carbon dioxide, and other gases. As the mix amassed and rose over thousands of years, the pressure would eventually push the ground up into a dome shape and create cracks along the edges. As that pressure was released through the cracks, the dissolved gases would explode, emptying the magma in quick fashion across the park. The eruption could be expected to kill as many as 90,000 people immediately and spread a 10-foot or 3-meter layer of molten ash as far as 1,000 miles or 1,609 kilometers from the park. Rescuers probably would have a tough time getting in there. The ash would block off all points of entry from the ground, and the spread of ash and gases in the atmosphere would stop most air travel, just as it did when a much smaller volcano erupted in Iceland in 2010. Equally as frightening is the nuclear winter that some experts say could blanket the US and other parts of the world if Yellowstone were to blow. Sulfuric gases released from the volcano would spring into the atmosphere and mix with the planet's water vapor. The haze of gas that could drape the country wouldn't just dim the sunlight, it would also cool temperatures. Falling temperatures would do a number on our food supply, decimating crops and throwing the food chain out of whack by leaving those at the bottom with little to eat. In fact, that's what many climate scientists believe happened in CE 535 after a supervolcano erupted in Java. So what are the odds of a Yellowstone super eruption? Very, very low. In fact, it's even possible that Yellowstone might never erupt again. Right now, there's no sign of a pending eruption. Yellowstone Park does continue to get earthquakes and the ground continues to rise and fall, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. Yellowstone is behaving as it has for the past 140 years, the USGS points out. Odds are very high that Yellowstone will be eruption-free for the coming centuries. The USGS also notes that if you simply took the past 3 eruptions, the odds of Yellowstone erupting in any given year are 0.00014%, lower than the odds of getting hit by a civilization-destroying asteroid. The Earth will see super eruptions in the future, but will they come in Yellowstone? That's not a sure thing, says Lowenstern. Yellowstone's already lived a good long life, and it may not even see a 4th eruption. Volcanoes, after all, do die out. The magma chamber below Yellowstone is being affected by 2 opposing forces: the heat welling up from below and the relative cold from the surface. If less heat comes in from below, then the chamber could conceivably freeze, eventually turning into a solid granite body. It's also worth noting that the volcanic hotspot underneath Yellowstone is slowly migrating to the northeast, or more accurately, the North American tectonic plate above the hotspot is migrating southwest. What do you think about supervolcanoes? Tell us in the comments. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen, because I'm sure that you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.